Hello and welcome to the Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I would like to say a huge thank you to Proctor Oppenheimer. Now I suspect that's not his real name, it is more of an online handle, but if it is your real name, that is pretty awesome, for sending in some amazing pictures of his 306 Renari rifles, and I have to say this is an absolutely fantastic regiment. The fluff details that's gone into it, I won't read it all out now guys, but Oppenheimer sent in loads and loads of cool fluff on his regiment. It's really well thought out, and I'll tell you what, I enjoyed reading every last bit of it. It was really interesting, and I do love just a good fleshed out guard regiment that is really cool when you put that effort into the headcanon. So thank you for sending in these pictures. They look absolutely fantastic. If anyone else has any cool pictures they want me to use in my videos, please post them on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below. Now today guys, I want to put forward a very controversial topic, and I want to ask a question that is, going to spark some serious debate, I would hope, which is, are conscripts back on the menu? Now I know some of you are going to hear that question and instinctively leap to the conclusion of no. Conscripts are just bad. Mordian glory, how can you even suggest them? And people are going to be rushing to their keyboards right now, I guarantee it. And they're going to be saying, why would you ever take conscripts? They've got worse weapon skill, they've got worse ballistic skill, they've got worse leadership, they can't accept orders except for on a 4+. And worst of all, they cost the same as a guardsman, 5 points. So why would you take conscripts when you can take guardsmen for the same point, same price? And those are all very valid points to make, and I'm not dismissing them. But what I would say is that is a very 8th mindset. And we're not in 8th anymore, boys. We're in 9th. And 9th is a completely different beast. We are seeing consistently armies with low firepower going up and winning because they're able to sit on objectives. And what we are seeing is that if you can kind of play the secondary game and make sure that you're able to get plenty of points on secondaries, and you're able to deny your opponent's primaries, at the very least, sort of just sit on as many objectives as you can. And it's not necessarily about maxing out your own primaries, it's more about denying your opponent primary points. We're seeing army after army consistently pulling that off. Things like armies which never had a chance in 8th edition, like Death Guard, Thousand Suns, and numerous other extremely drawable armies. Custodies, they really fell out of favour at the end of 8th edition. They really fell out of favour. They're back in again because of this key word I keep banging on about. I'm so sick of mentioning it myself. We're talking about durability. Okay, unit by unit durability, that's what we're talking about. And the one thing that conscripts can do better than guardsmen is they have a higher unit by unit durability. Simply because you can take 30 of them in a big blob. And because you can take 30 of them in a big blob, it means you can stack buffs more efficiently onto them. Okay? So that's, you can, if you put take cover, the stratagem for 1 CP on a unit of 10 guardsmen, you've made 10 guys get a 4+ save. Fair enough. If you put it on a unit of conscripts, you've made 30 guys have a 4+ save. 1 CP, 3 times the result. And that's really important. I also want to put forward the fact that this is an edition where taking multiple detachments is going to start being very painful. You're going to be burning that CP. And I know some people say, well, guardsmen don't need that much CP. No, we still like a lot of CP, guys. We still like to be able to throw down, concentrated barrage. And we also want to be able to do the Lehman Rush stratagem where everyone can fire, where they can fire all the guns at max strength. And we still want to be able to do the 1 CP, take leadership just on a D3. And we still want to be able to inspire tactics every turn. If you're playing a guard army, you could easily be burning through 4 to 5 CP every turn, just to boost units. So we still like CP, We still want CP, and there's a reason why in 8th edition we were all trying to cram in triple battalion because we wanted 18 CP. You know, it was even armies that weren't maxing out the troop slots were trying to take 3 battalions with 3 squads of troops in each one because they wanted the CP. So in addition, we're taking, you know, an additional detachment is going to really scupper you because you're going to be on -3 CP at a minimum. Having a unit which is totally fine with taking 30 infantry in one slot is really, really good. I mean, think about this. You just take 3, you can take 1 battalion and get 3 squads of conscripts and 3 regular squads, and that's just as many toughness 3, 5+ save bodies as if you took 2 battalions, except for this time you've got 3 CP. Okay? Now, I know, so yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, you might say, Mordian Glory. Fair enough. You know, you sold me on the durability side of things. You know, I could take a squad of conscripts or 2 squads of conscripts, and I can very easily, you know, that's a nice nice amount of bodies, and it saves me on having to spend an extra detachment. But you know, what's going to happen when they lose a few guys and start failing leadership checks? Well, you know, there are ways to mitigate that. Firstly, the first way is to not give a shit about it, which you might think, well, that's a bit of a weird attitude to have. But think about it. If you actually go and do the math hammer, and this was all done at the beginning of 9th, it's been worked out that morale in 9th edition is less of a problem for big units. In fact, if you take a big unit, morale isn't a big deal because people only run away if they get 1s now. So, you know, you take a leadership test, if you fail it, 1 guy runs away, and then you roll a dice for everyone else in the unit, and on a 1 they run away. So if you take a unit of conscripts, for example, and let's say they lose 15 guys, they lose half their numbers. Okay, so you're at, you know, leadership, you know, you've failed that leadership check. Nothing you can do about it, you've failed it. So back in 8th edition, you'd lose 10 guys because you've got leadership of 5, and so that means 10 more guys are going to run away, which means you've got 5 conscripts left over. Really, really bad. But this is 9th edition, so if you lose 15 guys, what happens is 1 guy runs away, alright, the remaining 14 have got to take a leadership check. Well, guess what? It's only 1 in 6 of them are going to run away. Even if they're, you know, below half strength before the test takes place, and what, you know, 33% of them are going to run away. If it's only 1 in 6, then out of those 15 or, you know, 15, 16 that are left over, 2, maybe 3 will run. Guess what? You've still got 13 guys left over. Big deal. Who cares? Even if 1/3 of them run away, that's only 5 guys. It's half what you would be losing if this was 8th edition. Still fine. So attitude 1 is you don't care. Fair enough. It just doesn't matter. Attitude 2 is, well, we have ways of making our guys fearless. First way, take an astropath. You're going to be taking one anyway, because you're going to want to be ignoring cover, because you want to take advantage of astral divination. So take an astropath, and then use the power, mental fortitude, that you put that on a squad of conscripts from 18 inches away, they're now fearless. They don't care. And guess what? It's such a low priority power, and it's such an uncommon power, that your opponent, he won't even try and deny it most of the time. He's going to be waiting out for that psychic barrier, that smite, that psychic maelstrom. Ooh, nitrile. They're the ones he cares about. Mental fortitude, it's not really on his radar. Doesn't really think about it. And if you don't get it off, guess what? You don't care. Because like I said, even if you have to lose a bunch of guys for morale, it's still not as bad as it was in 8th edition. So, it's fine. And you might, then also you can ally an Inquisitor. Inquisitors are good. 55 points. Guess what? 55 points, you get another psychic power. One's called Mental Fortitude, one's called Psychic Fortitude. I can't remember which way around it is. But this Inquisitor can also take a power which makes a unit within 18 inches, warp charge 4, fearless. So now if you take 2 blobs of conscripts, and you've got 60 guys, you can make both blobs fearless. That's pretty good. It's even better when you start thinking like, ooh, well, you know, the Inquisitor also has a power. I think it's if you take an order Xenos Inquisitor, he can give a unit a 5+ invulnerable save. Pretty tasty. That's pretty tasty, guys. And then you can start being like, oh, look at all these other buffs I can stack on, like aforementioned Take Cover, Psychic Barrier, another +1 save, Nitrile, -1 to hit. You know, there's loads of things you can do to really boost those conscripts. In fact, if you really wanted to, you can take a unit of conscripts and you can make them -1 to hit with a 3+ save and a 4+ invulnerable save. When you stack all those buffs on, and they're fearless. Now, when you put all that together, that's actually not insurmountable. That's 30 guys which are, you know, really, your opponent's going to have to put some effort into clearing them off. Even Marines are going to have to dedicate, you know, more than one squad to killing that. It's pretty good. Now, you might say Mordian Glory. Oh, one other thing to say, other ways of making them fearless, just go Valhallan. Go Valhallan and take Petros Mark 45. And anyone around you's just not going to lose more than one guy to leadership. Just do that. That's great. Now, some of you are going to say, oh, but Mordian Glory, what about blast weapons? Now, that's a perfectly valid point. And it's a very valid point for 9th edition as well. But let me hypothesize something. Let me posture something, I should say. Which is, everyone has looked at blast weapons and written them off. Because they all cost too much. And everyone is expecting them, so everyone builds around them, so most people don't take more than 5 men in a squad, and then blast weapons are seen as useless, so no one's turning up with them. You still get the occasional bozo who likes to turn up with some Forge World Scorpius whirlwinds, but it's not as common as the guy that's turning up with this pure elite army of Primaris and Eradicators and Aggressors. Salamanders are at the top right now, and they're using things like Aggressors to clear hordes. Now you might say, yeah, exactly, Morning Glory, a unit of Aggressors is just going to tear through a unit of Conscripts. Yeah, probably, but guess what, guys? It's a unit of Conscripts. If they all die, you still don't really care. And that's what's so good about them. They're very, very disposable. Okay. Now, one thing I would want to mention is, I guarantee someone, you know, someone's going to make the point, but they don't kill anything. You know, they don't do any damage. And it's like, yeah, they don't. But guess what? Regular guardsmen with lasguns don't do any damage either. I mean, that's the big problem, really, isn't it, guys? We've talked about this in another video, where, you know, the lasgun is essentially useless at this point. It was my video where I talked about 2 wounded Marines. The lasgun is, you know, it's kind of useless at this point. Doesn't really do a great job. Doesn't really kill anything. And it's only going to get worse when everyone starts turning it with even more 2 wounded Marines. It's got to the point now where lasguns just, they ain't cutting the mustard anymore. It's very, very rare when you come across a situation where your lasgun actually feels like it's got some punch behind it. Even a little smidge, a solitary crumb of punch behind it. So, if that's the case, why are you taking guardsmen? You know, if all you're doing is taking guardsmen to be bodies, to take objectives, but then you're being like, I have to spend more CP to be able to get access to more guardsmen. Why are we doing this? Why not just take 1 battalion? If you're like, I want to take 120 guardsmen, okay, why not just take 6 units of 20 conscripts? Or 4 units of 30 conscripts? Or 3 units of 30 conscripts and 30 basic guys? All of that fits in 1 battalion. You know? You're saving yourself CP. And your guardsmen weren't there to kill anything anyway. And you might be like, oh, but I want to be able to move. Well, if you want to be able to move, you've still got a good chance of being able to do that. And even if you don't get your move off, because it's only a 4+, you probably can't re-roll it anymore because of the way command points have changed. Command point reroll has changed. Just consider the fact that the board has got a lot smaller in 9th edition. It's got 25% smaller, and most missions will have you in range of an objective turn 1. Your turn 1 movement. Even if you just move in advance, you'll get in range of it. Everything's much closer together now. Everything is much closer together. And one thing that I have noticed is that my regular guardsmen are just struggling. They are struggling to kill stuff, and they are struggling to hold stuff. Because there's just not enough of them. I'm going into battles with a pure infantry army, and I'm only turning up with 120 infantry. Because if I want to turn up with any more than that, I've got to start the game with 6 CP, because I've got to take two detachments. Now there are ways I can mitigate that. I could take a brigade, then I could take Cree, but then I'm forcing myself to take sentinel attacks, and I'm forcing myself down to a regiment I don't want to take. I don't want to take Cadian. So I'm thinking, let's just take a step back here, guys. If our guard's not going to kill anything, and they're dying too quickly, then maybe we take guardsmen which aren't designed to kill anything, but are inherently more durable. And also I'm going to start the game with more CP, which means I have more CP to pump into them to try and make them more durable. It's just a thought. It's just an idea. I don't know what you guys think, and I'm sure there's some points around conscripts that I have missed, but I would definitely say that when it comes to playing the primary game, they definitely seem like they could be the new choice. Now, we're going to be taking a little bit of a closer look into how to play the primary game in future videos. And I know the big disadvantage of conscripts right now is that they give up a lot of thin their ranks points. I know that, guys. I do. But unless you're willing to run an army which is pretty much all ogres and scions, you're going to be giving up thin their ranks anyway. Okay? You're going to be giving that up. So if we kind of just take it as read that we're going to be giving up thin their ranks, a lot of thin their ranks, then why don't we just say we're going to give that up, but we're going to dominate on the primary and we're going to dominate on the secondary. And our opponents, they might max out in their ranks, but they are going to struggle to get any other points. That's how I see conscripts. You sort of spend points to make points. Victory points. You've got to give away a few victory points to make a lot of victory points. That's how I see them. That's how I see them playing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I think there could be something here. I'm going to try and get lots of of them painted up so I can run them in a few practice games, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.